I wonder if you could comment on this disconnect that we seem to have in this country, where you are presenting information about what's happening at the border, calling it an invasion. Then how can the stories be
No,
fake?
the reporting is fake. I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN. That's enough. That's enough.
Mr. President,
That's
I was
enough.
going to ask one of the other folks.
That's enough.
Pardon me, ma'am. Mr. President.
That's enough.
Mr. President, I had one other question, if I may ask. Are you?
That's enough. Put down the mic. Put down the mic. Put down the mic. Because your question is a very political question, because you have an agenda. You're CNN. You're fake news.
You heard the president start his remarks here at this joint news conference in that fashion, and then he was asked that question by a reporter with the Daily Caller right at the very end.
Sagar Enjeti from Daily Caller. Sagar.
And the question was asked in a way that really teed it up like a game of t-ball here in the Rose Garden. The president was just sort of served up a softball there.
CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN.
When the president of Brazil mentioned the term fake news, he got sort of a smile and a nod from President Trump.
I call it fake news. I'm very proud to hear the president use the term fake news.
This is something that we've seen since President Trump came into office, called this network fake news, has referred to the press as the enemy of the people, and so on.
When you report fake news, which CNN does a lot, you are the enemy of the people.
This is a virus that is spreading around the world. When you have the president of Brazil calling the press the fake news, he is trying to
More quick, let's go.
Essentially, in a sycophantic sort of way, suck up to the president of the United States. I mean, there's just no other way of putting it.
Of course. Okay, just sit down, please.
In trying to emulate him down, as they call him in Brazil, as the Trump of the tropics.
I do that.
Call it fake news.
No, I do
you're
that.
undermining confidence in our news media. This is another example of when the president of the United States says something here in the U.S., referring to the press as fake news, referring to the press in other derogatory terms, other leaders around the world, other governments around the world are listening.
Welcome to the world of the media.
He likes to talk about how there's this media collusion game that is stacked against him when he has one of the most powerful social media voices out there.
I have many millions of followers on Twitter.
So I think that just has to be said as well. It has to be put on the record.
I have many millions of followers on Twitter.
Conservatives aren't being discriminated and abused on social media.
Names are taken off. People aren't getting through. You've heard the same complaints. And it seems to be, if they're conservative, if they're Republicans, if they're in a certain group, there's discrimination, and big discrimination. I see it absolutely on Twitter and Facebook, which I have also.
They have just as much of a landscape that they dominate as the left does, and one could argue that they have a much bigger footprint.
The Media Research Center released a devastating report today documenting the censorship of conservative speech. Claims from former employees that Facebook hides conservative content from the trending section were backed up by a detailed study.
I'll tell you what it really shows. The people are smart. The people get it. They'll go through all of that, whatever it is they're fed, and in the end they pull the right lever.